drinking. Kind of like a luxury.
Well, you get all the options at one place. But
So this is exciting because, I mean, this is one of the first bottles of white wine that we've opened.
really?
Yeah.
Oh. So now I'm very excited.
Is
I'm a little bit of a
We've
connoisseur myself.
done a couple things with the white wine, but I'd say from purely chilling a bottle and opening it, this is probably
All right.
one of the first 3 times that we've done it.
All right.
I feel
Yeah.
very.
Yeah, so cheers to that.
Well, cheers to that, guys. Yes. Salud. There.
Hey, thanks for being in the REC experience. I'm your host, Jas Takhar, with your girl, Laura Alto Stewart. What's up?
Hello.
How you been?
I'm good.
Keeping busy?
Keeping busy.
This is season 4, episode 3. There's a reason we have a wine bottle.
There is a reason, and unfortunately, we're not drinking it.
The neat thing is, as our viewers and our listeners are going to hear, we were actually drinking a bottle of Empathy Wines in New York.
We were. It was a white wine.
And it was the first time that they cracked open a bottle
We
of
were
white wine.
some of the first taste testers of that wine, so I feel very good about it.
And so we didn't get a chance to taste the rosé. We said we'll keep it for at least this intro, as well as after the episode airs. Then there's no promises about keeping
You never
this.
know. One day we might need to crack it open.
Obviously, it came down, Laura, just before we started the intro. We brought it from our media wall right next to Jab Jab Right Hook, Gary V's book, New York bestseller, along with 5 other books that he's written. The reason they're together is because Empathy Wines is a business that he opened up with. I think really his 2 best friends, John Trout and Nate Sherotter.
People that had been working with him.
Yeah.
So I don't think they were like friends from childhood or anything, but
10 years that they worked together.
Yeah, they
or
were
something.
working together in Gary's business,
Yeah.
VaynerMedia. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think they did make mention before we even did the podcast that they were originally with him. Nate was with him at Wine Library.
Wine Library, of
and then
course.
he came to Vayner.
Well, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Right, it does, and that's why
They
they
actually have
opened
some
this.
background in wine.
I don't want to tell the viewers and listeners what we thought about the wine because that's in the episode, so you're gonna have to see it and hear it
And buy it.
and
Try
buy it.
Yes.
The neat thing is we have almost 50 to 60 cases coming.
Cases, not bottles.
Not bottles.
Cases. I'm going to have a fun summer.
And would you drink more rosé in the summer? White?
I'm a rosé drinker in the
Okay.
summer, definitely.
Yeah. Is there? Obviously we're talking about Empathy Wines, but is there other couple of wines that that come off the top of your head that you like in the rosé selection?
I tend to like rosés from France because they're drier. I'm not a big sweet wine drinker.
And is there certain foods that you might match up with a rosé? Because I'm not a huge
All
wine
of
drinker.
them.
Really? You know how sometimes they say the rule of thumb with
Fish is white
wine and red meat with red wine.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
what
you
is with rosé?
probably wouldn't serve it with a steak.
So you don't go a little piece of steak and a little piece of fish because it's rosé? You wouldn't mix it up like that, or
Rosé, I feel, and again, I'm no connoisseur, but
it's so funny you said that 3-4 times in the
episode.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a little bit more of a you don't necessarily drink it with food. It's just your afternoon beverage.
Got it.
Yeah.
So it's not something to match with
It's like a
certain
beer.
cheeses.
It's
and
like-
stuff.
yeah.
Oh, that's a cool little thought around rosé. It's interesting because after we finished our podcast with Gary that you guys have obviously seen and heard because that was the season premiere. If you haven't, stop this right now. Stop this and go back to episode 1.
And then come back to this.
Well, then actually listen to episode 2 because episode 2 was awesome from LA, right? With Tracy Tudor.
Yeah.
We didn't fly out this time. She
This time, we've never flown out to LA.
Well, we flew
Maybe
to
that's
New
on
York
the
a couple
to-do
of
list.
times. Yeah, that's for sure. Once we get Kobe Bryant, we'll obviously be flying out. Not that we have him yet, but Kobe, if you're listening, but that Mamba mentality, I am going to find you and get you on this podcast. Just a kind of a tangent that
I'm
I need
going to
to
hold you to this,
okay.
by the way.
Well, it's
Okay.
recorded.
Yeah, it's recorded. Everyone's heard it.
Everyone's heard
We're
it.
going to LA, people.
So if anyone is listening or watching that knows Kobe, make that happen for me. Love you, love you, love you. The other interesting part was they really spoke about what drove them to start this business. Like, they have a lot of love for wine. Obviously, Gary's past business, John and Nate, have a lot of passion for it. So it was nice to talk about that, right? Like, we talk about it all the time on the podcast. Do what you're very passionate about.
Yeah, these guys have figured it out, all three of them. But the two guys on the show, for sure, they're working on what they love. Even the bottle and the branding and everything around it is something that they all believe in strongly. So it's, you get to go to work every day and do something that you believe in.
It's really cool. Like, when you flip it on its head, and Clem, you can catch this, buddy. Legacy is greater than currency. That's something huge that these three believe in. They're not doing this only for profit. I mean, this is not a non-profit business, but they're not really just doing this for profit. They're really wanting to add a lot of value, and it's why they add, we're talking about what foods to pair with it. They have, if you're part of the Empathy Wine Club, you as a member, you get a service that essentially, if you're at a restaurant or you're like Jas and don't know how to match and what to match foods with, there's a service they have. You text them and say, listen, ahead of time, here's the menu of the restaurant that
this could change the dating game.
Why do you say that?
Think about men going on dates. And they don't know anything about wine, and then
and look a little better kind of thing.
And then someone gives them this big Bible book of like things to sift through. They don't know what they're talking about. Now it's like, I'll have this one because the service told them what to get.
That's pretty cool. And then you would open it up and be like, you know what, I'm gonna go with this one. And
it'll get you a second date, I'm sure.
Like it's like me in school, right? I probably had a book open, but inside the book was really something like Sports Illustrated or something like that I was reading, right? It wasn't the science textbook. And so imagine like the menu, and then inside you have the phone.
That's
and you're
essentially
texting.
What's happening.
That's actually really neat that you caught that. So as a Empathy member, you are automatically get that service. Their mission is to provide a $40 wine for $20. And you'll have to listen to the episode and watch to really get a much better idea of what we thought. We did, as well as Simeon joined us, yourself, John, and Nate were gracious enough. I didn't really have to twist your guys' arm. Once I said we're opening up a bottle of wine, everybody was in. And
suddenly we're all in the episode.
Everybody was like, yeah, we're all in.
Unfortunately, we had to split that one bottle.
I know, we drank that pretty quickly. All of us drank that pretty quickly. So have a listen. Alto, thank you for everything. Appreciate it. Nate, John, Gary, thank you for being so hospitable and having us at your offices at VaynerX in New York in Hudson Yards. And also look for an episode about Hudson Yards coming up in the next few weeks, where we actually sat down with the senior vice president of related companies. It's the developer that redeveloped all of Hudson Yards. That's where VaynerX's office is, but that was really cool, and so make sure to look out for that episode.
Yeah, definitely a good experience for us to see that.
Yeah, we actually got on the 84th floor of a residential building, penthouse floor, got to see a 360 view of all of New York, which was just awesome. So make sure you look out for that episode coming out. If you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do that now. And if you're listening on any podcast platform, please give us the feedback. Even if you don't like it, we prefer 5-star ratings, but if it's a 1 or 2, that's okay as well. We're okay with that. As always, again, Alto, thank you. And to you, to the viewers and listeners, thank you and enjoy.
REC Experience presents Real Estate, Entrepreneurship, Leadership with your host, Jas Takhar. The REC Experience podcast is now on air.
Hey, thanks for being in the REC Experience with your host, Jas Takhar. And I got some special guests with me. REC is sitting here at the headquarters of, you see it, Empathy Wines. And I got 2 gentlemen that I'm going to let them introduce themselves. You guys obviously know Simeon and Laura. So I'll start off to my right. Who are you? What's your name? What do you do here?
Cool. My name is Nathan Sherotter. I am a co-founder and COO of Empathy Wines. So we started this business about a year ago, John, Gary, and myself. It's a direct-to-consumer winery. producing really quality wines in Northern California.
Quality, yes. The taste is unbelievable. But we'll get into that even more.
Thank you. And as of right now, we're shipping to direct-to-consumer in 44 states in the U.S., working on Canada. So we should have some good news on that soon. I've been in the Gary Vaynerchuk world for about 10 years now. Started as an intern with them, I think exactly like 10 years ago.
Oh, happy 10-year anniversary.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then full-time in VaynerMedia for about 7 years, and then we went full-time into this project about a year ago, and it's been a great ride so far.
I'm going to talk to you more about, Nate, like what you were doing before, because we were talking off air, and you said you really like Excel spreadsheets and stuff, which I hate. So I'm very curious why you like that.
Good formulas are beautiful.
Yeah, well, like, okay, yeah. Well, I'm sure Laura does, and Simeon does a lot of that for REC. To my left, who are you? What do you do?
This is delicious.
And introduce yourself, my man.
Yeah, so my name is John Troutman, also a co-founder at Empathy Wines. I absolutely hate spreadsheets.
Good job,
Which is why Nate and I work so well together. My background's pretty similar to Nate's in that started working with Gary about 10 years ago, originally in the wine industry.
Okay.
More recently on the marketing side of things with VaynerMedia.
Okay.
Before a little over a year ago when the two of us split off full-time and found the new winery.
So that's when you two split off. So what happened? Were you guys literally, you three, yourselves and Gary, sitting at a table or at a bar having some wine and saying, let's start a wine business? Like, let's start a winery? How did that all come about?
Yeah, so both John and I started with Gary in the wine space. So, John has a pretty extensive background in the wine world. I started with Gary as an intern at Wine Library, his father's retail store in New Jersey.
Okay.
And then this thing called Corked, which was a social network for the wine world.
Okay.
When people were trying to become the Facebook of kind of niche
Facebook
category.
of this. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what Corked was. So that's where I met John, who was my manager at the time. And so we had an interest in wine, and then we kind of, as Gary's career shifted from wine to business and the advertising agency here, we kind of shifted with him. Worked in the agency for a long time, but he knew that we were entrepreneurial, that we wanted to do something outside of the agency, and it got to a point where just timing was kind of right.
And just kind of figured, so where is this, like, where is the winery? Where does this wine come from? Where does Empathy Wines come from?
Yeah, so all the real magic happens out in California.
Okay.
So we have a winery where we actually make the wine in Napa Valley.
Okay.
But we source all of our grapes from regions in the surrounding Napa area.
Okay.
So we were very intentional on where we went and sourced grapes from. We wanted to shine a spotlight on new regions and the best growers.
And why the new regions though, John? Like I really, this is really interesting to me because I'm not in the wine business. I don't know much about it. So why was it important to get to the new regions?
Yeah, to get into like the hardcore business side of it,
it
was like the price arbitrage of quality. Right, so the brand name of Napa Valley and the brand name of the Sonoma Coast make sourcing grapes there super expensive.
Right.
However, we recognized that there were areas in neighboring regions like Lodi, like Lake County, like Mendocino, where you had these growers who were treating their vineyards with incredible integrity, super great source of fruit, that because they just don't have the notoriety yet of those other brand names I just mentioned, the quality is incredibly high, but the price points are still relatively low.
And that's funny because even to our viewers and listeners who are a lot of real estate people, it kind of spoke to us when you started saying like the price arbitrage. We always like to think of when buying and selling and most importantly investing in real estate. Look at a B location that's on its way to become an A location because you're not going to pay A location pricing for it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you had some questions when you first sipped on it and you were looking at the bottle. I had to stop you and say, I want this on air.
No, I drank my glass. Thanks. There we go. It's delicious. It's obviously blends of grapes. So we don't have a single grape. And who is your winemaker?
Yeah, so when it comes to the blend of the wine, so it's what I would call like a field blend, or probably a better description, just a kitchen sink blend of different grape varieties. So Chenin Blanc, Chardonnay, Vermentino, Albarino. Some grapes that are familiar names like a Chardonnay, others you maybe haven't heard of, but that are really great for the land where we source them from. And what we were excited about is the balance that all of these come together.
It's very fresh.
And provide. Yeah.
It's very fresh.
Yeah. The Chenin Blanc and the Albarino, I think, give it this like grassy freshness. And then the Chardonnay is in there, gives it a little weight. So each one is like very intentional.
Are you guys going to be looking at a line of reds?
So we have a red wine that's coming just a few months behind this. So it'll be ready in September.
And the size of the bottles, Nate, like is there a variation of that? I know we have a 750 here.
Right. This year we're making a rosé white and a red, all in 750s. The bottle shape will be a little bit different for the red, but it'll still be 750.
And why is that? Is that a branding thing? Like when you go shape, like a different type of shape for a red? And
Yeah, it's more, there's a kind of red bottle or Bordeaux style
Got it.
bottle
Okay.
based on the blend, so it's more traditional for that. We're kind of playing around here with potentially doing some canned wines down the road.
so
Probably
some
something-
exclusives for you guys.
some
Thanks
exclusive.
for that. Yeah.
So something probably later this year, early next year, we'll experiment. But for the most part, we're focused on the rosé white and the red this year.
Can I just chime in? I just
Yeah.
wanted to know a little bit
Well, you're a
about.
wine drinker, Laura, so it's very
I'm-
important.
well,
I'm very curious with what
You
you
shouldn't
think
say a
about.
wine drinker. It's
Okay.
not. I'm not a wine connoisseur.
Got it.
I'm a wine.
Drinker.
I guess I am a wine drinker. I just drink wine. I love white wine. I love rosé. So I do appreciate this, but again, it's not. I wouldn't know the notes and the different.
Does Rick Ross like rosé?
I think he does. I think he's a rosé guy.
But I wanted to ask a little bit about your branding and your target market and how you've come to that conclusion.
So that's what Laura heads in our company. She's our director of sales and marketing. So I mean, that's a fantastic question. So how would you guys answer? Like, what is the target market?
So we launched this with Gary as our partner. I think we have a huge advantage, right? Because one, he's got an incredible track record and has built his brand in the wine industry.
Mm-hmm.
So he's built a certain level of trust with his following. And then his audience has really been our target to start with, right? This is capitalizing on his fan base and providing them a good that we think they'll be really, really excited about. I will say that as we've started to expand and think about the next vintage, it's how do we transcend Gary's fan base and start to target additional segments of people and wine drinkers.
And are you thinking that the direct-to-consumer model is going to keep the cost down? Like, is that what you're going after?
Yeah, I mean, definitely from a getting the consumer the best price we can to their doorstep. The direct-to-consumer model is the best way that we can do that. So if we went through a traditional 3-tier system and went through retail, this wine at your local kind of liquor store would cost around $40 on the shelf.
Yeah.
And so us going through direct-to-consumer has allowed us to get them the best price we can. I think we will go a little bit more into on-premise, so restaurants and bars and pouring by the glass. We see wine as so experiential.
Yeah.
And people want to taste it and have experiences around it before committing to buy 3, 6, or 12. So we see a good opportunity for us to get into bars and restaurants and have people pour us by the glass and allow them to taste it in kind of different environments. So, but for the most part, I would say that, 80%, 90% of our business will continue to be direct to consumer to keep those costs down.
How do you guys come up with the shape of the bottles? And like, the branding is really cool. I'm looking specifically at the rosé here. Simple, less is more. Like what? How did you guys come
We're
about?
just creative geniuses
Just-
over here.
Let's go as simple as possible.
Spreadsheets and simple.
So how did that come about? Is that like you guys do like focus groups still in today's day and age? Like what do people do? Like how did you come up with the shapes and the looks of the bottle?
Well, working out of this office, we almost have a focus group of about 500 people, which we use to our advantage.
Right.
So many of them were our target audience too.
Yeah.
When it came to the actual design of the labels, though,
Yeah.
one thing is we were joking that it's simple.
Yeah.
That was actually really by design, and it's pretty unusual in the world of wine for a pretty simple
Very
reason.
much so, yeah.
People go into a wine shop and they shop based on 2 criteria.
Okay.
What is my price point?
Yep.
And do I like the label?
Yeah,
For
I am
us-
guilty.
Everybody's guilty.
I think
Everyone's
everyone's guilty of that.
I judge the book by its cover.
Yes.
As our resident wine drinker,
Yeah.
you know that to be true. But for us, what's really a pretty big point of differentiation is we're not competing for somebody's eyes on a shelf. And so because of that, we really wanted to almost stand out from the rest
Right.
by being so countercultural to every other label design.
So let's take it back a little bit now. I'm going to start with you, Nate. What were you doing before you even got into the Vayner world?
I was a college student at Arizona State University.
Okay.
No, I was interested in wine as a college student and randomly came across Gary's Wine Library TV videos.
Just watching it on YouTube?
Yeah, I was just researching things on Google. And came
Wine
across,
college student, very mature.
Yeah, I was a very mature college student. And just watched a few of these videos and said, this guy's very interesting and character, and I want to learn from this guy, and I want to work for this guy. So I sent him an email. Just said, "Dear Mr. Vaynerchuk, I want to intern for you."
For real?
Yep.
Oh, wow. I didn't know
We
that's
talk
how it
about
started.
interning all the time and the importance of it.
And I think he just responded with yes. And I didn't really know what that meant.
And you're in Arizona at this
I'm
time?
in Arizona, and so I followed up with his assistant at the time and said, I want to come out there, I want to make it happen. And then I think a month later, I was in Springfield, New Jersey, living in the Seton Hall dorm rooms, taking 2 buses each way to intern at Wine Library.
I think that's so important, as we were semi-joking about it, but I think it's so important to know, right? You went from Arizona, you go into New Jersey. Do you know anybody? Or
Had no family, no friends out here.
And it goes to show now he's sitting in the boardroom, COO of Empathy Wines, working very closely with 2 amazing people that I'm sure you're still learning from, and they're learning from you. Even though he was a manager at one point, I'm sure that things change, right? And now you guys are together on a really cool venture that it's okay to start, and from the perspective of working for free, and just getting out there, making the right connections. Yourself, John, how did you kind of get into the Vayner world? And more importantly, what were you doing before this?
Yeah, so I grew up in a family that owned a restaurant.
Okay.
So I always fell in love with food and then wine.
And Mr. Restaurant guy, you too as well.
Yeah, you know how that goes.
I do indeed. I do indeed.
And where was this?
So that was in Massachusetts.
Okay, so you like a Patriots guy or
Unfortunately,
Celtics? Well, listen,
Yeah,
as we
very
sit
quiet.
as we sit here today, we're 2 days away from Game 1. He's a Patriots guy himself.
It's okay to be a champion.
Yeah, okay, right.
It's okay to be a champion.
Right.
And a cheater, never mind.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm not gonna-
Game. Anyways, but 2 days away from Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Obviously, us Toronto folks are very, very excited about that. So you're in Massachusetts. You're in the restaurant business.
Yeah, I finished college in Vermont. I studied business undergrad. I graduated right during the financial crisis.
Oh, perfect timing.
Yeah, great timing. Applied for tons of jobs that I was super underqualified for at the time. Decided that, you know what, rather than go and do a 9-to-5 job because the world told me I should, I would just go all in on what I actually loved, which at the time was wine.
You're right.
Started reading as many textbooks as I could, studying things on the internet. Like Nate, I just stumbled across Gary's videos.
Right.
But to sell it or to grow, or like what were you looking for?
I was looking more, I was studying with the Quartermaster Sommeliers program. Really just because it was the first kind of body that I discovered that had a kind of an accreditation.
Cool. He's more than a wine drinker.
Depends on the moment. And it's really almost a carbon copy of the story to Nate's, where I discovered Gary late night on YouTube one day, went down a rabbit hole of watching all his videos, and next thing you know, sent a cold call email asking if there was a way to work together. And the rest is kind of history. Worked at a couple of wine startups with him.
Right.
Later then transitioned over to VaynerMedia.
Right.
Before where we are today.
There is a cool service as a subscriber to the wine club that you get with Empathy Wines. Are you guys okay to talk about that and tell that? Because I find it really neat, because it gives so much value to a wine drinker, and you really could take that, what you guys are offering as a service, which you'll talk about, into really any business where you're giving so much value. What is that neat feature you get when you're a subscriber of Empathy Wines?
Yeah, so the way you just phrased it is actually how it came to be. And so we said, how do we provide as much value to the end consumer as humanly possible when you're starting a new wine company? And so some of that value comes in the form of a great wine for a great price.
Yep.
Then we're like, what are the other pain points or problems that we can solve for wine drinkers on a day-to-day level? And so that's how we created this concierge program called Club Empathy. It's really geared towards our top subscribers, and it gives them concierge benefits in the form of an on-demand sommelier by text. And that was geared towards people who walk into wine stores or are walking into a restaurant on a day-to-day basis, and they're crippled. They don't know where to start. They don't know how to select a wine. They don't know what's good, what's bad, what they'll like, what they won't like. And that's really an on-demand service geared to help them with that.
So I'm going into a restaurant, I'm about to order a fish, and I have no idea the waitress is probably going to try to sell me, or the waiter's going to try to sell me.
Bring a book to you this thick.
And you bring a book, and I'm probably going to look at like either the least expensive or the most expensive and go that. But I can text someone, I can email someone, I can
text us a picture of the wine list, and for the most part, we'll respond pretty quickly with a recommendation. We'll ask what you're eating. We found people that they send pictures of like the wine list before they go to the restaurant.
I was thinking that when you were saying that, I was like, I'll just do it earlier.
Which is the move and gives us time to prepare.
Yeah. Men should do this when they take women out on dates.
100%. So that's been really cool. More on demand. There's a ton of value from if you're going to wine country, Napa, Sonoma. Even we've done a couple international trips too. If you email us your itinerary, who you're going with, we'll set you up with VIP tastings, either really discounted or comp tastings. We'll get you good reservations for lunch or dinner. And so I people that actually utilize the service from I'm taking a trip standpoint, it like pays for all your wine.
That's fantastic.
Like one trip, which is really, really cool. One of our subscribers just emailed us a list of all the wines that he has in his cellar to help us kind of prioritize what he should be thinking about next and like really kind of nitty gritty wine stuff. So it can really run.
That's incredible.
Run the spectrum of I'm just, I like wine. I'm going here for dinner. What do I order? To I want to round out my 1,000-bottle wine cellar. What do you recommend? So it's really cool.
I love it from like the actual service perspective as an end consumer what I'm going to get. But even on a higher level, I love it from a business perspective. It makes us want to think that much more outside the box. And anyone who's watching or listening, if you are just starting out in business or own a business and run a business with thousands of employees, think outside the box. Think about something different like that. That takes a lot. I'm sure it's a lot of headache, like to run an operation like that.
Oh yeah, and for us, like, we want this to be a subscription that you stay with year over year over year. And so if we can find ways to add value, every month or every third month and keep you engaged, it makes it cheaper to keep someone along, and it makes their experience a lot better, and it just makes our brand more valuable.
I find it better than my gym membership that I don't even make use of that I pay for every month. This I'm going to get some real value out of. John, you mentioned, and I'll kind of close it off here because I really want the viewers to get a lot more data. You mentioned that we have maybe a 500-person lab that has tasted a lot of the wine. So I'm going to kind of put you both on the spot here. And I guess Nate is going to win out because you're going to answer first. John, you can think about his answer. What's kind of the general consensus of empathy wines, of hearing it from such a big group of people? Like, what can the viewers expect to taste?
Yeah, I think what's been really cool for us is we've hit this sweet spot of a wine style that really appeals to a broad market. So what I mean by that is the wine drinkers of the world will taste this wine and they'll enjoy it. They're going to appreciate it. I think it has the flavor profile of something that they're going to sip and be like, pour me another glass of that, please.
Yes.
And yet we've also appeased and are appeal to people who have maybe a more sophisticated palate that are maybe accustomed to drinking white Burgundy or really, really high-end white wines. They'll taste this and be like, yep, I get it. This is like actually really high quality.
For sure.
And they'll be able to taste that. So it's pretty unique in that usually a wine falls in one of those categories. We've been able to kind of like hit on both ends of it.
Yourself, Nate, what have you been hearing out there, man, from the group? And
Same.
Yeah.
No, I think
He stole all your
so.
answers,
It's weird. Yeah, it's weird. Most, at least everyone in this building, they tasted the rosé. A lot of people haven't tasted the white yet. You guys got the sneak peek.
Thank you for that again.
Yeah. Most people, to John's point, have said, and it's not really a wine tasting though, but this is smooth. That's what a lot of people have said in this building, and what John and I kept talking, like, smooth's not really a tasting though. Like, what are they talking about? But I think it's balance. It's it's acidity and sweetness.
I definitely agree with that. Very nice.
And so. And that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to make something that had that right balance of acidity and sweet, that had the right aromatics, that it smelled kind of, that like you wanted to drink it.
For sure.
Well, sorry, I'm going to cut you off quickly because a lot of times when you drink a wine, or at least when I do, certainly white wines, you'll get that first hit and it kind of almost hurts. Like it's not good. You keep drinking anyway. This one didn't have that. So I enjoyed that.
You want to drink more.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for your time. I really, really appreciate it. To our listeners and viewers, REC has a case, 70 cases of empathy wines coming to us in the very, very near future. And so we are very excited.
We're going to be very drunk.
Well, I was going to say,
Spreadsheets won't be good.
not a lot of real estate will be sold. Not a lot of real estate will be sold. As much as Laura likes wine and Simeon and myself and our family and friends, we're actually very excited to get this wine in your hands. And then we can give our boys some feedback that they can take back to the lab and do what they need to do with it. So once our cases of wine come, you'll obviously be tasting it at our wine and cheese events at our office, and we look forward to getting your feedback. Thanks again to everybody. Really appreciate it.
Thank you from New York, my family.
Thanks.
Awesome. Did you guys just
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
This has been the REC Experience Podcast with Jas Takhar, an REC Canada production.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching the REC Experience. Please make sure to subscribe, like, and share. Click here to watch and experience more videos from REC.